Good Monday morning, you guys. Oh my goodness. The cold needs to just leave Texas. Okay. We're getting like our next Arctic freeze or blast, whatever. And so the North, Canada, Mickey, come get your weather back. Okay. My goodness, I'm telling you. But you guys listening to Author Talk with me, Amy, Russell, and Sandy's here with us today.
Thank you.
Yes.
Sorry I didn't see your text until this morning, though.
Oh, please. It's, I'm up late all the time. But we're talking to Zachary today. And so before we do that, let's dive into our weekends because mine is always just for some reason eventful. Okay. So one, besides the fact that I'm still in limbo as to what our next steps are, right? As those of you guys followed my journey into building this house. And well, there are certain situations which my background here probably by the summer might look a little bit different. So we're just staying up to date on all of that. Outside of that, though, you guys, if you have young children or you have had young children, then you will understand the pain I'm about to tell you. So besides the flu and the strep going around, there is this nasty stomach bug going around. My household, no. My household has not gotten it. Okay. It is just not happening. It's been fabulous so far. Okay. I'm knocking on wood all over the place. My family, on the other hand, my sister and all three of her daughters have gotten it. My mother got it. And then my other sister that has two boys, her and them both have it. And it's lasting like an entire week. So I just stayed in my little quarantine bubble. Okay. There was no visiting, no nothing at all. But on top of that, so you guys know it's President's Day today in the States. So Meadow is home and is being entertaining to Sky because you guys usually see her on there. But Josh is out of town for the entire week, right? Which makes my weekends incredibly busy because that means I have to wash all of his crap and fold it. Oh, and I'm terrible at laundry.
Why don't you make him wash it?
Oh, Russell, here's my thing, okay? So every show, Zach, I always have some kind of quirk, and I talk a lot of crap about my husband because he doesn't listen to my shows. So it's only fair because he doesn't listen, right? So when he tries to be nice and do the laundry, Russell, he only does and folds his laundry. Everybody else's is just like, oh, I was getting to it, my ass, okay? That just never tends to happen. When I do the laundry, everybody's shit is together, right? So he's been banned from doing laundry. So I do it and get it done because if not, it's just a whole thing. But I hate, you guys have listened to me. I am great at washing it and drying it. I'm terrible at folding and putting it away. Unless it's warm, I refuse to do it. So
show me someone who's good at folding and putting away. I'm pretty sure I have clothes that haven't been folded in like 3 weeks.
Hey, you know what?
Spirits here with that.
I am a huge fan of the basket system. Like if I could build one of those like basket crates, and it slides and each person has a clean and a dirty one, that would be my life. Okay. Super simple. But I was blessed with 2 daughters and they change their outfit like 15 times a day. My oldest one, if a speckle of water gets on it and it hits her skin, it's ruined. It's never going to dry. It's a catastrophe. And we need to go get an Elsa outfit on. So for whatever reason, baskets don't seem to work. But I used to be like that where I just had clothes sitting in a basket and I would know that they were clean and I'd be like, oh yeah, this is cool. So I am with you, Zach. I am with you. So I hope everybody's weekend was less stressful and hectic than mine.
You didn't have any stress. That's no stress. That was no stress. That was just a good. That's just a part of a good life, is what's going on with
laundry is terrible.
No, healthy kids, good relationship.
Look at Russell going all on the bright side over here.
Ugly green hair. It's all good for you.
Hey, I was called poison ivy.
You're being positive today.
I know.
Well, it's that green hair. I'm trying to not talk about that stuff.
Hey, I've been called green ivy.
Yeah, I know you've been
ivy,
called things. I call you
poison
stuff
ivy,
all the time.
and they love it. And I also did get told by Costco, you know how Costco has like AT&T or whatever big cell phone companies there. Mine is AT&T, and the AT&T rep was like, I love your hair. It reminds me of the Joker.
Okay. Was it a?
And
Oh yeah.
so I
Okay,
love
that's
it.
a compliment. It
Yeah,
reminds me
I
of the
know.
Joker with his slit mouth.
Well, yes. But
Okay. I'm just
positive
I
saying.
missed
time.
you
Well,
guys.
it's just a bigger smile, right?
I'm just saying.
And I'm prettier, but to each their own. No, we're gonna go with that.
Well, you
But
didn't
what
say they
else?
said that.
No, he didn't, but that would be smart of him
Okay.
not to say that,
That was just
It
some
would be
creep trying to bother you. That's all that was.
I had my kids with me. But anyways, what did you guys do this weekend? Russell, you have Rita. What did you and Rita get into or
Okay.
Rita get
Did
into?
you do you have that picture?
Oh, if you
Okay.
give me a minute.
Since the first time she's been on the show, she's only 14 weeks. She's doubled in weight. I mean, she's a
That's a
freaking monster. Look
beautiful.
at this thing.
What?
Okay, let her go to sleep now. There's her bone. Did you put the picture up?
Yes, I'm getting
This
it. I
is
had to get
this
it.
is my weekend. If you look at this
Man.
picture, you will see uh the dog looking into its cage and two children in the cage.
I
This
love
was
it.
my weekend. It was this wild all weekend. I traveled from Atlanta to Houston and spent the week uh, because the twins were having their tonsils out. And so we helped take care of them. Uh, Things went to the absolute best. They were actually home that night. 2 days
Great.
later, you couldn't even tell that they'd had their tonsils out. Everything was wonderful. We had a great week. It was total chaos. I mean, I cannot describe the chaos of our life the last 7 days because it was two puppies screaming through the house in the yard playing, the two 3 year olds, a 6 year old. It was crazy. So it was good life. It was
Sounds
good
like a
life.
fun time right there.
It was. It was. I miss that we're gone from it now in the
Yeah.
chaos. I'm also really glad to be able to take a nap this afternoon, but I miss it.
Yeah. I'm telling you, those kids were smart. They were like, I'm just going to avoid the chaos and lock myself in a cage. I have done that to avoid my kids when they were in their terrorist stage, and they still are. And so I have locked myself in a cage or my closet. So they were just getting away from the chaos. I'm just saying. I'm team that 100%. So, all right. Sandy, what did you do?
I had a house completely full of my one son came with his family. My sister came from Fort Aransas. My other granddaughter, the one that's the school teacher, came, and I had a blast. I mean, I absolutely never stopped until last night. I'm sitting down just for a minute, and I think everybody had gone except I have one son that lives close, and he was here a lot the weekend. I sat down at the table, and I could feel myself just drifting off. And they're like, "Go get in your chair, your recliner." And I sat down, and I didn't know. I didn't know when anybody went to bed. I didn't know anything. I woke up about midnight and realized every light in the house is on, the television's still going. I'm in the chair with my two chihuahuas, and so I got up, turned all the lights off, closed everything down, and went back to my chair and spent the night in my recliner. And I had a great night's sleep. So I had a really, really nice weekend, and we're all getting ready. So I leave on March 1st to go to Progreso, Yucatan, Mexico, and I'm going to be there for the entire month of March. So I rented a house. My son that lives there basically has a house that's like one block over from the beach. So I rented a house that's actually on the beach, one or two blocks from his house. And everybody's coming down throughout the month of March. So we did some planning and organizing and how are you going to get from Merida to Progreso and all those kind of things. So it was a very productive weekend. It was a fun weekend, and I had a great time, and I can't wait for March 1st.
She's counting down.
I am.
Counting
It was
down.
2 weeks from last Saturday, so I have less than 2 weeks. And I'm in the process of making sure I have for my drugs because I'm diabetic and all that. So I'm making sure that I have enough to last me a month and all those kind of things. Just kind of working out the details so there will be no running up to the store and getting or run to the pharmacy and get more. Although I probably could, they do have pharmacies there, but still, I want to make sure I have my medicine and all that.
Fun. You leave on the first, second. You leave on the first, Sandy, and I leave on the second for the publisher at Sea Cruise.
Oh, and I'm so disappointed that you guys are not going to stop there.
No.
One of the things about Progresso, it is a stop on the Carnival.
Yeah.
I don't know if all of them, but for sure Carnival. So once a week, you have a cruise ship that's there. And that is such a fun thing that everybody gets off the ship and comes up and they're going through the shops and going to the little restaurants that are at the end of the pier. So it's fun. I can't wait for that to happen. So it's a great place to be.
Yeah. So I've been having to get my kids ready and psych them up for this cruise and, brace myself for the chaos that will ensue for 7 days on a boat with my children. So, yeah.
But they have lots for kids to do on those ships, so I think you'll be fine.
Yeah, but it's my kids, it's just a thing. It's just,
but
yeah, it's just a crazy thing. After like 5 minutes, they're going to be tired of it.
What
right?
did Russell mumble? I didn't hear him.
He's muted, but I want to know what Zach did this weekend. So, Zachary, what did you do this weekend?
Oh, so Saturday we had my in-laws over for lunch, which was nice. They brought some gifts up that got delivered to their house because my wife and I are having a baby this May.
Oh, so, congratulations!
Thank you.
Zach, where do you live? Where are you?
We're in
Canada
Florida.
Or are you in? Where?
Florida in the U.S.
Oh, nice!
Florida.
It's just nice year round. You're like it's like Texas. I love it, but you have prettier water. I like that.
Yeah, I lived in Texas for about 5 years. I will say we have better beaches.
Yes.
Yes, you do.
Yes.
I mean, I love Galveston, but it doesn't touch Treasure Island.
Any Texan will tell you that our beaches are crap. If you really want a good beach, you got to go from like Alabama, Gulf Shores down to Florida. And we're not a beach place.
And where in Florida did you say you're from? You live?
Central Florida. So I live in Winter Haven. It's about an hour west of Orlando.
I know, I lived in Lakeland.
Oh, okay. Wow.
So I know exactly where Winter Haven is. Yeah. Oh my gosh. That's so cool.
Small world.
Yeah.
Yes. We had my in-laws up from Tampa, and then Sunday was, I am using it as catch up because I am full-time in school, full-time teacher, and of course, writing my next book. And I have a secret project that I'm not allowed to talk about yet, but that was also taking up some time as well.
Fun. Well, do you guys know what you're having in May? Are you having a boy or a girl?
We are having a little boy, yes.
Oh, fun.
Is this your first one?
It is our first, yes.
Oh,
we're really excited.
Well, congratulations, and I'm sorry.
No,
because your life's about to change.
But we're ready for it. We were planning on this for 4 years, so this is long awaited. So we're really excited about it.
We need to thank the people listening to us. Most people don't watch us on the show live on Monday morning, but they listen to our podcast. Top 1% on some of the podcast channels. We're very humbled by it, very excited about it. I never could find us when we got on podcast channels. We've been on for 9 years. I could never find us. For months, I looked for us. Then Aimee did her magic. I know she just says she changed the colors, but it seems like it was more because all of a sudden, even Russell could find. Aimee, where can they find us on the podcast channel?
I know. I like how Russell even admitted, even now he can find us, you guys. But no, honestly, Dina rebranded us with the colors that I picked. You guys know Crimson Red and Gold are my colors. They are my favorite colors. And, you can find us anywhere that you can look for a podcast. So my go-to right off the bat is Amazon, Spotify, Good Pods. I'm an Android user, so Google Play. If you're an iPhone user, an Apple user, iTunes is where else you can go. But anywhere that you can search for a podcast, you can listen to us. If you want to watch us, see my kids act like fools on this show and me try to just contain them and reel them in, me and Valerie, Sandy also very animated. I do not have a poker face, as Russell likes to say, but I do control what comes out of my mouth. Okay, so I am at least that good at it. But you can come on over to our YouTube channel, any one of our social media channels, our Facebook group, interact with us live, see us live, see the green hair that Russell is talking about, that he just, I know that he loves it. Deep down,
Oh, it's
he's
the
like,
greatest stuff.
this is great.
It's the greatest you've ever looked. I can guarantee you. You're at
I
the
love it.
height. You'll never look greener.
Better. Yeah, I've never looked greener. I love it. I love it. But you guys, Russell sent us an article this weekend, and I know he's dying to talk about it, and I know he wants to get our take on it. So I'm going to let Russell introduce it, and then we will talk about this Barnes & Noble royalty thing.
Okay, this was strange because it popped up last week. We talked about some novel websites where you could write your novels. There you go, Amy. You got to shut them out. Where you could write your novels on these websites and build your following as a part of a plan on publishing a book. Then the next couple of days, Barnes and Noble sent an ad across my Facebook advertising something I didn't know they did, which you could go online, download your manuscript, and they'll edit it, format it. This sounds familiar, doesn't it, Sandy?
Yes,
And
it is.
publish it. And I thought, whoa, this is, I didn't know Barnes and Noble. Amazon used to do this. They got out of the business because they couldn't figure out how to make money doing it. Now
Yeah.
Barnes and Noble's doing it. And I wanted to know what you thought of it. If you know anyone who's tried it, what do you think?
I mean, I haven't known anyone that's tried it. It's still kind of new to me in a sense, but I work a lot with authors that like to maintain like certain control and quality in them. And so something like this, I feel like is more geared towards like first time authors that don't want to go and find editors or cover designers or pay someone that knows those. Right. And so, because you still have to pay for this. Like, even though you send it to me, it's like, yeah, they're running the 70% off deal. But
Okay, well, did you see
70%
the
off is
price? Did
what?
you see the price? It's like
I
$100. It's nothing.
Yeah. See,
How much?
doesn't that make
it's
you
like-
nervous?
No,
That
it
makes
doesn't make
me
me
nervous.
That makes
nervous.
me nervous. I mean, I
Well,
spend
why did you hire
$250 just
doing
on the
it?
covers for my books.
That's
Right.
my point. It doesn't make you
Yeah.
nervous, but it is a tell, right? It
Yeah,
tells you
it's
something.
it's
Like,
just a
what's
quick
about the
money
quality? How
grab.
service
much of it is
getting.
being done by AI?
Exactly. You get
Well-
what you pay for.
Well, that, but I mean, so we all know, we've all had these conversations either amongst ourselves or here on the channel, that it is a very saturated market, the writing community and the publishing writing industry, of predators, right? That are preying on first-time authors, or, you know, people that are like recently retired, they want to put this book out that they've dreamed about all their life, right? And they fall victim to these predators, and
Like
then they're out
70%.
thousands of dollars.
Right. When I was talking to someone last couple of weeks ago that was a first time writer, and he
Yeah.
was asking me questions, I said, you got to be careful. 70% of the people that offer to help you are predators. Only 30% are honest, know what they're doing, give you the bang for the buck. And the first and the hardest trick is to figure out who that 30% is, right?
Yeah. Well, yeah. But I mean, so we've talked about vanity presses and how a lot of them have morphed into hybrid presses, right? And then we've talked about a lot of people that offer extended author services, you know, end up just kind of giving you this thing. I met with an author recently, right? Russell, you're going to die, because I died when they told me this. So we were going through their book, talking about marketing, our marketing plan for their book, what it's going to look like. You know, their book's already come out. It's been out a month. Here's what we're going to continue to do, right? They dropped this bombshell on me that they were sent this editor, and they went with it because, you know, she's booked up all the time and all this stuff. For 3 passes of editing, it was $13,000. I have never paid for developmental editing over the high end, like the highest end, I've never paid over $4,800 for 8 rounds of editing on the high end of pricing, right? Which is anywhere from 2 to 4 cents a word, right? I've never paid $13,000. And so that just feeds into this whole industry that you can have a model similar to this model that Russell's posted in the group and he has sent us. That's all like, yeah, $100 will get you this. But if you really want quality, then it's going to cost you X, Y, and Z. And the next
And you
thing
know
you
that's
know,
what
you
they're going
spend
to
it.
do. They
Yeah,
hook
they're
you
going to
in with
upsell
the
you.
100 or whatever, and then they say, "Oh, well, would you want to add this?" And
Yeah,
that's
and
how they
then
get you.
the next thing you know, you're at $10,000. Your book's not out, and you're just like, "Well, I don't even know." You know, now you have to invest in marketing, which you know is going to cost you X amount of money for 6 months. I mean, for 6 months, you're looking at anywhere between $5,000 to $7,000 for marketing, right?
Yeah.
So if you've started in the hole at $10,000, now you're at $17,000. How are you going to get out, right? And so
Well, you're not
to
getting
me,
out.
no, that's a big red flag. So I'm just like, oh my gosh. So it's crazy to me to see that. And you see so many comments that are on it, right? So people are buying into it. People are doing it, obviously. But it just is like a quick money grab towards people that are uneducated in the industry. And not uneducated, not in a bad way, but they're naive to the industry and how many predators are out there. There's so many, you guys. I encounter so many emails a day in a week that are just like, hey, I have a really small marketing budget because X, Y, and Z happened. And you're like, well, you know, I'm sorry that all those things happen, but it's just insane how many of those I get. And it is like a deterrent and it gives a bad just feel to the industry, I feel like.
I'd almost rather people like hold off on marketing and just focus on building a catalog rather than dig themselves in a hole that deep.
Yeah, well, yeah, but I would rather, I mean, I tell people this all the time. So I have people that come and they're like, I have to have an agent. And I'm like, well, they're going to take part of your royalties and then your publisher's going to take it. And you don't get control when they pitch you to the big 4, big 5, whatever. You lose all that creative control and freedom in your envisionment for your book. If you self-publish it and you research, you find your own people and you ask questions and you research, you know, you find your own editors, cover designers, then you're putting in the time, the quality, and the money into your book to put out what you want your book to look like.
Exactly.
Right. And then you can market it slowly, or you can take marketing. You know, there's plenty of like, what is that thing? Is it Universe or?
Oh, there's a ton of them. Like there's stuff on Skillshare, on Fiverr, on Reedsy,
YouTube,
a bunch of
videos.
bunch of ways to learn how to market. Have I been diligent with that? No. Is my sister helping because she took a marketing class? Yes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Well, rely on people
for marketing, and there are options for legitimate ways to do things inexpensively. But I would say that anything as low as $100, either they're still beta testing it.
No, it's
they're
the
not
hook,
sure of the
Zach. It's the hook, right?
Yeah.
They hook you, and then they start reeling you in and adding the cost.
Yeah, I'm sure.
That's the way it works.
Like if you want like a second round of editing, or if you want it to be done like an actual person, here's like a $200 upcharge here, $500 upcharge there. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's intriguing. I would at least want to research a little bit more just because I'm curious about it. But
we do need to get the Zach's book though, because we've taken up a bunch of time. Oh, I'm sorry I took up
Sandy,
so much
that's
time.
your cue, Sandy. So take it away.
Like, okay, where is Zach in this whole story? But Zach, you've been great. Congratulations. I love how you already interacted. We've already gotten to know a little bit about you. And so now let's find out about the book. And this is I'm not going to say anything. Just go ahead and tell me the book that you have. And is it just being published now? I mean, when was it published?
I believe that I'm on to talk about Eternity's End. And that one came out in... My wife is here. Honey, do you remember when it came out? I think it was in October. It came out in October of this last year.
So it has a 2024 pub date on it?
Yes, it does.
It would be great if when you publish something really close to the end of the year you could go ahead and put a 2025 or the next year's date on there because it gives you longer shelf life. Because a lot of books that, once the published year is gone, it's considered an old book. So,
interesting. Maybe I'll hold off. Maybe I'll let my publicist know that the one that I was going to release this fall, I'll just save until January or February then.
Well, you can have a soft release. That's what I think of it as, a soft release or early release or anything like that. Russell, did you do that with your book? You had an early release, right?
No, I didn't do that.
You didn't do
I
that?
had early release, but I didn't do that.
Okay. So you just do it like if a restaurant has a soft launch and it's open, you can see that it's open, but then they have a grand opening and they have a really big deal. And that's really when you consider that the restaurant started, not back here, but they were already, working. So you can do that with a book as well. Put the date and then do a soft launch. We did that kind of with a book that we're actually having the launch party today. One of my clients, I am retired, but I had one client that stayed with me, and he passed away last year. He was 95, and his one request was that for his daughter that she publish his book. So we got the launch party this afternoon with aimee. So we went with aimee to help with all the publishing and all of that. So I am the marketing person, and you were just talking about it. And so you can market that soft launch, but you do, but not with the big blast that you do with the actual launch.
That makes sense. I've considered putting all 5 of the books in that series into like an omnibus and doing like a relaunch of the series, but we'll see, because that would be a very large book, so I'll have to see if I could even format it.
Well, you can do, what do they call them, Aimee, when they do a series of books and they put them together in a package?
Box set?
Like a bundle? Like a box set bundle?
Yeah, book bundle or something like that. You can do that without making them all one book. You got the separate books, but you actually sell them. And Amazon will put them on, excuse me, just like that. The book bundle you can put on Amazon. So that's I see people do that. Aimee has a client that does that a lot. With their books are their books are more about the behind the scenes, the tech world.
The Enigma series.
What is it?
The Enigma series, Brakefield and
Yes,
Berkey.
yeah.
We'll have to look into that. I didn't know that Amazon did book bundles.
Yeah. And I'm not sure they call them book bundles, but you'll figure it out. You'll see what they do call them.
Mm-hmm.
So, so that's great. But so tell me about Eternity's End.
So Eternity's End is the last book in my Eternal Chronicles series, and it wraps up all of the loose ends and brings everything from the first 4 books to fruition. There's dragons, there's catastrophic events, there's romance and newness of life and life ending. It's a whirlwind from start to finish. It was actually, I meant to do a 4-book arc, but the last book was getting so big that I ended up splitting it in about half, so that I didn't have 3 books of about 70,000 to 85,000 words and then 140.
Right.
So
that does make for a bigger book. So, well, that's good. You got another book out of it anyway. So
yeah.
Now you have a series of 5. And this is the Christian Saga series. Is that it?
Yeah. So I consider it sort of the spiritual successor to C.S. Lewis's work in Chronicles of Narnia.
Oh, wow.
Because I loved those books growing up. And my first year teaching, I had students that said that they'd never read the Chronicles of Narnia and weren't planning to because it was too old. And I was like, that just breaks my heart. But I wanted something that would kind of fill that need, but be a little bit more modern for today's readers that are looking for fantasies that don't just stick with like the medieval thing. So there's some urban fantasy aspects to my books as well that make it feel a little bit more lived in and relatable to today's young adult readers. And the series starts with Jesus's ministry on earth through the eyes of the disciples and ends with the second coming and sort of the heaven and new earth after that, but it's all in a fantasy setting. So I would consider it a lot more accessible. It's not super preachy. So I think anyone can enjoy it, but certainly Christians will get more out of it because of the background and the inspiration for the series.
So this book was released, published in 2024, the end of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
What have you done? We're talking about marketing earlier. What have you done to market the book besides being on AuthorTalk?
Yeah. So my sister-in-law does a lot of my social media for me. And it's a relatively small operation for me. I'm building a following, but we're also building other connections behind the scenes that are exciting. So there actually is quite a bit in the works that I'm excited about, but not allowed to reveal too much about at this point.
Okay, well that's okay. You can hold on to it because that just adds to the suspense of more books coming and the story behind the whole Eternity's End or the whole Eternal Chronicles Series, really. So that's very exciting. I love your website. I went there. It's really, really nice. I love the way you have it organized, and other books, Eternal Chronicles books, and so
yeah, I haven't been back on to update it in a while, but it's still it's great, but it definitely needs some new content on there. But thank you.
Yeah, no. I mean, honestly, it looks great. I look at a lot of websites from authors, and this looks very nice.
Thank you.
So congratulations on that and on the book. And so what's the story behind the scenes? Is it Zachary or Zach?
Oh, either way, as long as it's spelled with a CH and not a CK, I'm happy.
Okay. So Zach, what's the story behind the Eternal Chronicles? What had you write this series of books?
So, like I said, part of it was that impetus for my students feeling that they needed a spiritual successor to Chronicles of Narnia. But that was kind of the impetus to finish it. I actually started the first book, Eternity's Well, as a project for a class that I took my junior year in my undergrad called Mapping the Publication Maze. And we were supposed to kind of have something that was approaching being ready to publish by the end of that class. It wasn't really the final product that I wanted, though. So it went through some pretty significant changes to the story. For example, those who have read the first book know that Elior, the main character's brother, gets transported to an alternate dimension, but in the original draft of the book, he was in a coma. And that was a pretty big change that enabled more of the story to come into fruition. Like there's two sides of Lux Eternitas because it's a flat world with two sides to it, like a coin. So that was sort of a big change that came with the rewrite. And there were inspirations from Avatar: The Last Airbender to Christopher Paolini's books, The Inheritance Cycle. And so I pulled from a lot of different inspirations, but at the core of it was this desire to tell a story. I've always wanted to be a writer. Ever since I was a little kid, the two things I wanted to be the most were a teacher and a writer, and I got to do both. So I got to tell that story, and it turned into a bigger series because it just made sense to continue the story, especially with the cliffhanger at the end of the first book, and it turned into this wonderful 5-book arc.
That's great. That's a great story. So, yeah, that sounds great. What do you have for future? Now that you are finishing this 5-book series.
Mm-hmm. So I currently am working on an Aladdin retelling, but instead of it being through Aladdin's eyes, I have it through the princess's eyes. But the real twist is that she's not really the princess, and she makes a wish to be a princess and switches places with Aladdin. And so Aladdin doesn't know that he's not a prince, and she has to maintain this facade or as soon as someone realizes the truth, the magic ends and she's put back in her old life.
So, where are you on that book? As far as
That,
completion?
yeah, I am about, I would say, a little bit more than a third of the way through with writing it. And then the editing process is relatively quick for me. I have
an
a good team
emergency.
that
I've
does
got to
that.
rush off. I will be right back.
Okay.
Sure. So I should be looking at that. I may release it this fall. I may release it earlier in 2026. We'll see which ends up being the better release window for that.
Well, I know you'll stay in touch with us and let us know through, I guess you'll do Mickey, right? Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm sure Mickey will let Aimee know when your next book comes out. So you'll have the last one in the Eternal Chronicles, and then that is the book afterwards.
So Eternity's End was the last book in the Eternal Chronicles. And then this one is it's going to be a standalone. I figured I'd do something a little bit easier rather than jumping directly into a series. And then I have plenty more ideas. I have probably 30 plus novel ideas that are ready to go, some of which can be turned into series, some of which will be standalone, but there's definitely a lot more down the pipe.
Now, what genre would you call your book?
I would call Eternal Chronicles a sort of fantasy, urban fantasy, epic fantasy, kind of a blend of those three, but definitely strongly within like the fantasy umbrella. Of course, as a self/independently published author, we all like the subgenres, but so I think it fits within a few of them. But definitely anyone who enjoys Lord of the Rings or Chronicles of Narnia or the Inheritance Cycle would find something to enjoy in my books, I think.
Do you have any challenges with the Christian aspect of the book?
You know, I know that some Christians are really opposed to like the fantasy aspect of books, but I don't find that it's a challenge because as a Christian, I look at the Bible and I see so many things that we would consider fantastical if they were written in any other book. And so to me, the supernatural and the natural world overlap so much, so I don't have an issue with that myself. It doesn't cause me much of a challenge to write in that fashion. And
I'm with you, definitely. And I am a Christian also, so I definitely am with you. But I just have seen some authors have experiences. I had one client that it was years ago, right when I first, I retired from Hewlett Packard and then started my own business working with authors and did that for 20-something years. But as I first got started with that, because I had done marketing already, understanding, a little bit different to find your target market from a book than it was from the computer, or technology. So, but I had one client that we booked for a Barnes and Noble in the Dallas area. In Dallas, I don't know how much you know about the Bible Belt, but Dallas is like the center, the heart of the Bible Belt. And her book mentioned the two characters using a Ouija board to help them find what they were going. And they actually came over and asked her to leave the store, would not let her even continue with her. I know. So I'm like, but so I just wondered if you had in Florida, probably it's not going to be as like it is in Dallas.
Yeah, not quite like that. I will say that because I'm a teacher and I actually work in a Christian private school, I definitely have some parents that probably wouldn't approve of the book. And so I don't really push it to my students. They know that I'm an author. They've all found my TikTok and things like that. So like they know that it's there, but I don't advertise it to my students or say, you should buy my book. I've only had one experience where I was actually able to bring my books into the classroom. That was my second year teaching. I worked for a relatively, I guess you could say, liberal school, but but the whole class read my first book, and that was a really fun experience to get to teach a book as its author.
Oh my gosh, I can't imagine anything more exciting. That really sounds awesome.
It was so much fun, and I knew exactly when some of them were cheating. It's like, you didn't read that. I know you didn't read that. How do you know? Well, are we really having that conversation? Look at the name on the front of the book. That's the same Zachary Hagen? Like, yeah, that's me.
That's good. That is very good. So, so you've got lots of books planned for the future, and so most of them are going to be in the same genre. Is that right?
I would say yes. I definitely have some that could be classified more towards the sci-fi end of things, but I don't know. I think a lot of times what we consider magic is just science that hasn't been discovered yet in a lot of ways. I mean, we're talking to each other over a video call, put us back like 30, 35 years, and that is science fiction. And
I don't even think you have to go quite that far. I think you could be a lot closer than that. You know, when we think of it, the changes that have taken place, mainly in technology, but the changes that we've seen in our technology in the last, I don't know, it's been the last 20 years. There's been significant changes.
For sure.
When you look at a cell phone and look at the progress that's been made along those lines, definitely give you an example. Russell, do you have a question?
I have all sorts of questions. I just haven't been able to participate in that because I have such a bad dog.
I know the feeling.
So I'm going to kill this dog after the show. So that's a whole. Someone's going to have to bail me out of jail, etc. But yes, I have all sorts of questions about your dragons and how you do your conflict in a book that you want to write and describe that it's in the Christian genre. I have all sorts of questions about it. We just don't have time to do that because we're already at 42 minutes. But I do want to end by asking you, if people want to find out more about you or contact you, how do they do it?
So probably the best ways, until I get my website updated, because there's a few content and pieces that need to go up there, it's just finding the time, would be through my Instagram. I am, even if I'm not posting, I'm active on my Instagram. So it'd be Zachary Hagen _writes. And it's the same for TikTok. And then my Facebook page, Zachary Hagen Writes, that's also, every time I do an interview, it gets posted directly there. So people interact with me there. And then I do have a contact page on my website, zacharyhagenwrites.com.
I love it. I love it. Russell, I love your bad dog. I love your bad dog. I love that
She's a bad dog. And notice Zachary does TikTok on his promotions.
I know. His book is fitting,
though. Go to my bad dog.
Go to your bad dog, Russell. TikTok is fitting for you, Zachary. It's not fitting for all genres. It is for some. Me and Russell have this love-hate relationship back and forth when it comes to TikTok and authors using it and what it looks like. So that's why he likes to just poke fun. It's his way of showing that he loves me.
No, yes. I need to create a better marketing plan specifically for TikTok because, like I said, all my students found me on there. So I have to be really particular about what gets posted. So I haven't.
Yeah, that's no good. That gets you fired. That's no good.
Yeah, I have. I mean, it's not like my content is inappropriate, but also it's like when you know that your students are watching you,
it's no good.
Adds an extra layer to it. Yeah. No, I understand what you're saying for sure. But before Russell goes off to his bad dog, I know I'm going to do last minute comment questions, statements. I'm going to go to Russell first so he can go deal with his bad dog. Russell.
I've already made my last question.
Okay,
which
Russell's
I'm allowed
done.
to do, which is he needs to tell us about his contact.
I'm cutting Russell off. Russell's been cut off because of his bad dog. Sandy, what about you?
Well, I just want to say thank you for inviting me to be here today. It's been fun. Zach, it's nice to meet you. I look forward to reading your book. And I also wanted to, Amy, let people know we are doing the book launch live from the Facebook page of Dick Elam at 5 o'clock 5 o'clock Central this afternoon. So I would like to invite, if you're watching this on YouTube, then we had a great time. But if you're watching it today live, then you can be live with us tonight for the book launch.
Awesome. Well, Zachary, I want to thank you for taking time out of your day to come and hang out with us, talk to us about your book, what your next round is going to be, and your passion for it, and for hanging out and letting us talk to you. So thanks for taking time out of your morning to come hang out with us.
Yeah, it was a lot of fun. Thanks so much for having me on.
Oh, absolutely. Well, you guys, we hope you all have a fantastic rest of your Monday. If you're in Texas, break back out your winter gear, okay? I know today's 70, but then it's going to be like, I don't know, 40, okay?
24.
So break it out. I know. So break it back out, you guys. But until then, have a great Monday, a great rest of your week, and we will catch you all next Monday. Bye for now, everybody.